All right, here we are back for another episode of AI and Data Mastery. I'm your host, Jason Renno, back again. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm excited about today's guest, Brenda Farrugia, who is basically a healer. The official title on the website is Intuitive Quantum Energy Healer and Empowerment Coach. But really, she's all about balancing the energy, healing, getting kind of to the root of problems and bringing out the best in oneself. Correct?
That's it, yes. But with the flair of my corporate background and understanding corporate issues and being in that space for most of my life, I've always had an intuitive sense. So naturally, I used to be called into the executive office and say, listen, we have a problem here between these two people, and they can't work together. And I could sit with them and easily bring them into a really cohesive group where things were getting done. So what I realized is I just had a natural act for looking at a problem from a broader perspective, understanding we're all very unique individuals, and how can we come together to get over our own blocks, our own egos, our own, and work together to really move things forward.
That's awesome. And what we want to focus on, or what we're going to focus on today, is where AI comes into the corporate space. Now, I know obviously, like you just mentioned, you're working with you work with corporate clients, and what I'm kind of curious is what are you seeing in a sense of, is AI being embraced? Are people scared of it? Is it creating like anxiety amongst employees? Are leaders scared? Like, I guess kind of what's the overall sense, and then maybe we can dive a little deeper from there.
Yeah, sure. And it's very also unique. There are some people who really are thriving and really excelling in it and love it and don't understand why others are fear-based. But what I'm noticing with a lot of clients, they're coming in with a fear of AI. They're being forced to use it or being told it's coming in, and it's actually causing them to almost go into paralysis. Like they've lost their self-confidence. Well, how am I going to be creative when this AI can be better than me, or is it going to take over my job? So sometimes I believe it's the way it's being rolled out or spoken to from upper management, and it's not being brought down to the employee level to really understand how it can benefit them. And then that does cause stress, and it causes then stress in their physical bodies, their mental states, their family life, their work balance. And it's almost like this ripple effect, and it's causing such chaos to some, not everyone. So what I like to do is really look at the core issues the person has. And sometimes something like AI can really trigger a self-esteem issue that they already have. I'm not good enough. And now you're adding this tool that's going to actually help them, but they're interpreting it because they have a perception of a different behavioral or negative belief that's now kind of coming at them as a difficulty instead of embracing it as a tool that can help. So perhaps the training or the rollout is not being done
I was
as
going to say
best as it.
education. They're not being educated on it properly, and
That's
and
right.
whether it's and I think to some extent, the employee can look at the employer and say, "Hey, you didn't educate me on this," but to some extent, the employee has to burden a little bit of that and say, like, "Hey, I can go educate myself and learn about AI." Instead of being the one in the office that's scared of it, bitching around the water cooler, I can be the one that goes to my boss and says, "Hey, check out this new AI tool. We need to embrace that and get to the forefront of it," or even from a leadership role, investigating new AI tools instead of being scared of it, embrace it. Hey, I'm Mr. IT guy in the IT department. What about this new AI tool that I saw an ad for, that I checked out, that I sat through a demo? It looks pretty cool. Maybe it can benefit the sales team. Like, um, that type of embracing it and bringing it in. And, from I personally had a boss who told me very young, when I was like 19 years old, he goes, the only type of job security is make yourself unfireable, right? Like, do something
Mhm.
at the business that nobody else can do. And I'm looking at it, I mean, I'm a business owner, but from an employee standpoint, like, AI is the golden opportunity. Like, be the guy that, or girl, sorry, or be the person, I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
be,
I
be
got it.
the be the person that embraces AI to the extent and brings AI into the business, and is kind of that AI leader within the business, and you're never going to be able to be fired if you're controlling all the little AI bots and everything going on in the company. You're going to literally run the business in about 12 months from now.
That's true, but that is a specific person who has the confidence, the know-how, the versatility to grasp onto really, that's the entrepreneurial like feel within someone. But a lot
Yeah.
of the managers, even like the HR professionals, there's a lot of people out there that have so much fear about technology or change. Change is a big one. So here we are, we've gone through this tremendous change with COVID. Things have changed. People, we've lost people, things, our lives were shaken up. And there are some people out there that have not even recovered from that. Now we're asking those people who are just hanging on, they're going to work, they're doing the best they can, and you're asking them to now bring in some new change again. They're still trying to get caught up with that. So that's where I will bring in kind of the intuitive healing to release some of the negative beliefs and bring them into balance so they can take a deep breath, be more confident with themselves, and start looking at things as what you just said, opportunities. I can learn this. And there's so much self-learning we can do, right? But it takes a certain individual. Like I love learning. I learn something new every single day. So you do, but not everyone's like us. So how do you bring somebody who's very different and looking at their world in a very small, limited view and being told to change? I have people that have really great jobs. Then they come in the office, and if it's just a one-on-one session, sometimes they cry. They're letting out safe place, just let out all their fears because they have to be the manager or the boss owner. They have to be strong for their families, strong for their families, strong for everybody. And in my space, they sometimes really crumble, but they just crumble to release, really look at it from different perspective and come out stronger. But if you don't want to really speak to, sometimes you just have to let it out, to let it fear in a safe place. So I'm not going to go like you can't do that at work because you so and so had a mental breakdown, and then people at work may not look at you the same way, right? So you got to keep it together at work, but inside, a lot of people that are scared.
Yes, I agree. A lot of people are scared. Going back to what you said just a minute ago in terms of you bring in like that intuitive healing process. What are some, and I'm sure it's, and I'm not trying to like minimize what you're doing to any extent,
Yes.
but what are just like maybe some quick kind of like practical like tips or tricks somebody could be doing, could even do at their desk or go out to their car, do just even something on a daily
Oh
basis
yeah,
to
just
help kind of bring them centered and I don't want to say
yeah.
cure, but just help with a little bit of that anxiety and that edge that we all kind of seem to
Of
acquire around
course.
2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, when people work with me, I do give them a lot of tips and tricks, and I can't inundate them with too many, but really, I mean, everyone, simple. We hear it out there all the time. Breathe, breathe. Like that is such a
Yeah.
simple thing. I mean, that's not even part of what we do, but just breathe. People will shallow breathe. They will hold their breath. A lot of people do. And really just stick something on your laptop that says breathe. And when you remember, you'll actually notice, well, I'm not saying you, but a lot of people who are in hyper stress, really freaking out inside, they're not even breathing. So that's something. I always say everyone should take at least 15 minutes, 1 5 a day to sit in self-reflection, breathe, and allow whatever needs to come up because there's a lot happening in this world, not just with AI. It's you know dynamics, everything are slightly changing. And to breathe it in and see if fears come up or worries or negative beliefs, don't just bottle them up. This is not the time to bottle up things anymore. It's to let them come to the surface and say, you know what? I'm kind of freaked out about this. And then rationalize, but why would you be? It's illogical to be scared of AI. It's illogical to be scared of or worry about something that may never happen. like losing your job or whatever it is. So it's just kind of getting into present moment, which a lot of the, wellness sector talks about. So breathing, self-reflection, getting back to center, and just seeing things from a broader view.
Yeah, and it could be in the middle of the day, just taking a moment for yourself. Whether it's now, would you say it needs to be 15 minutes consecutive, or 5 in the morning,
At
five in
first,
the afternoon, 5 at night?
that's a great question. At first, no way. If you've never done it before, 15 minutes is going to feel like 4 hours and you're going to hate every second of it. So if you're someone new, and this is what I teach in corporate, I'll do talks about how to learn to meditate. I thought meditation was the stupidest thing ever. I'm a corporate, I'm doing projects. I'm so busy. You're telling me to meditate? When does this brain 50 minutes to settle down? So I had to teach myself to meditate. And I had to teach myself in small segments of 30 seconds. That's as long as 30 seconds was, actually, I think it was 15 seconds. I could quiet my mind for 15 seconds back in the day. Now my mind is completely clear, peaceful. I can focus on whatever I want when I want. But how did that happen? This tool, our brain, is so powerful. And when you can laser focus it to what you want, you can create whatever you want. Thing is, everyone's got these things going in their heads and they're going all over the place. How can you be productive when you can't focus on something? When you have fears coming up, you're not good enough. Oh, your boss just came in. Oh, people always say, did I say something stupid? Like, it's already in the past. Why are you worrying if you said something stupid? They're going to bring you, call you up on it, right? So why worry about that? But it's our negative beliefs that make us feel insecure. What if worrying about the past, worrying about the future? Whereas learning by 30 seconds at a time to focus your mind on what you want is so powerful. It's not the easiest thing, but if they master that, I always say that that's where people really start to see, wow, my life is changing because I'm focusing on what I want, not what this is all going on. I'm pretty
That's really good.
passionate about that, eh?
Yeah, no, focusing on like what you're saying, what's important to them, and it doesn't have to. I mean, even from a business standpoint, it's their job's important to them. They want to do it to the
Of
best of their
course.
ability. I like what you said too. It's about the present. Like if you're constantly thinking about, am I going to be fired? How are you going to, be the best version of yourself and perform the best that
Yeah.
specific day if you're worried about getting fired tomorrow? And that also ties back to leadership and going back to the beginning of the show where we talked about education, where I think that's a big problem with AI right now is everything in the media is like, oh, AI is going to replace the world. We're all going to be, robots and slaves in 20 years from now, blah, blah, blah. But then that's obviously not going to be the case. But then it's the leadership's responsibility, the owners, the founders, the leaders to educate, hey, we are going to embrace AI. We're not looking to replace you. We're looking to quantify it in a way of, hey, we're looking to ramp up production by 25% by using the same people that are here. You're important to us. We want to keep you. This is a way to scale without having to incur, you know, a substantial additional cost, things of that nature. Where if you explain it to the employees that way, where it's like, oh, hey, they want to try to keep me. They're just trying to get more out of me by using AI. Then that's allows the employees to put a completely different perspective on
Yeah. And once they embrace AI and they realize how beneficial and how easy it is and how those ideas that maybe you can't get on paper as quick, it can really elevate your output and that can make you like shine. And who knows if that is something that you really click with, like you said, that person might be, running the company in a few years with that knowing and that connection with the AI. It's a beautiful tool. I love AI and I feel like sometimes it's just moving so quickly that I can't keep up with it. Like I'm doing my best I can, but it's like, oh, they come out with this now. They've come out with this. This is fabulous. I mean, it might even be
it.
used for,
Oh, I'm sorry, go on. My
yeah, it might
apologies.
even be used for figuring out where people are in their mental states, like how to avoid someone from going into a disability claim. Maybe you have this AI thing getting your maybe how you're feeling with this and that. And then all of a sudden saying, oh, you know what? So and so is getting on the edge of high stress levels. Let's put them in for some counseling or some wellness checks to get them. There's actually a lot of that was a great idea. There's a lot of ways AI could be used.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just everybody gets so hung up. That's why especially from the B2B standpoint,
Mm.
because it's not even like, hey, let's build an AI sales bot and this and
Yeah,
that. But you have a company that has 100 employees. I mean, you could literally build an AI bot that fields all HR questions, and the
yeah,
AI bot, they field in, and it's
absolutely.
any questions, they give answers, they direct to websites, blah, blah, blah. There could be a wellness AI where you call in, it can literally talk to an AI type of therapist wellness bot. If it detects something, or if they need further help, or they need something, they can ask the bot and they can book an appointment. They can reach out to their boss. There's so many, like we were working. Yeah, there's just so many ways to do it. I mean,
Do you know any companies using the wellness bot? I think that's just like fabulous. It could ask a bunch of questions. You get a daily little summary. You just put your thing where you're at.
no, but
That's
I mean,
neat.
we have like a sales bot. So I mean, if I can
Mhm.
program, if we can program a sales coach, and that type of stuff, I'm sure we could do a specific like wellness. But yeah, hey, for especially for like internal websites, I mean, we might have to
Mhm.
cut that out of the show so nobody takes our idea. But it's
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I'm seeing this, and you may want to take that out because that could be a good seller
I
there.
mean, AI therapist is not something new. I've seen that on. I already know that exists, or people that have.
Actually, yeah, people are using chat to figure out what's going on with them. It's interesting. But to have one integrated in with that, I'm just looking like the HR and disability because we have to when you're dealing with disability claims, there's so many questions you have to ask those people, but you have it done automatically. Okay, I'm getting a little off track, but I got really excited
No,
with
no,
that
no.
one.
Again, there's so many ways that AI. It's not. Hey, we're not looking to replace the HR department, but if we could
Yeah,
take those same three HR people that have stacks of stuff on their desk or whatever, or behind, possibly behind on work or overworked, and we can't afford to hire somebody else, well, set up an HR call service bot that fields all of their inbound questions, can probably answer 85% of the inbound just run of the mill questions. So that way they only have to handle the 15% that are actually important, that actually need their attention. And now they can spend the rest of the day, instead of answering BS questions or mundane
yeah.
questions, they can actually do work and be productive. But it goes
And
to every department, whether it's,
yeah.
you know,
And then could it go a step further to take all the data from everyone and create a report and say, okay, based on the questions that came in from this person over the last 3 days, there may be higher risk for a disability claim because disability claims are so expensive. If you can kind of get in before that and stop the detriment instead, bring them into
there's
more
absolutely
clarity.
ways to analyze the
Mm.
data and
Yeah,
spot
that would be
trends,
really neat.
everything else. So yeah, if you have I guess a similar complaint or some sort of trend going on, then
Yes.
you'd be
Yeah.
able to customize that to prompt that out. But um, yeah, exactly. Embracing AI in the workplace. I mean, that's our whole goal, is to really try to shed light on it, get businesses, people, individuals, whether you're employees, whether you're middle management, whether you're the owner or founder. There are so many ways to embrace AI. You don't have to fire your employees. You don't have to get rid of
Mm.
everybody. It's just a way to scale faster, more efficiently, or even the solopreneur guy, instead of having to go incur a large cost to hire multiple employees right off the bat, it gives him the opportunity to go find some clients, generate some revenue, then maybe incorporate an employee to help manage the AI and the workflows and things of that nature. But I think it's going to allow for a lot of individuals to build I'm sorry, not even just individuals, but very small teams, right? You're going to have
Mm,
these teams of like 3 to 5 people running companies that are doing $500 million a year, $1 billion a year, because it's all AI automated, right down to the delivery to the, somebody calls in for customer service, they're going to talk to an AI bot. They're going to, the
yeah.
reception, you can literally uh, yeah, we're going to see some very big businesses with very small employee counts in the near future, I predict.
Well, maybe that's what people are scared about because they're thinking, oh, it's a big company that's going to stream down. But what you're talking about, I believe, is like a small company just starting small, keeping small because the AI has been kind of from the beginning, right?
Yeah, and those companies, it all ties back to the deliverable. There are going to still be a large handful of companies that still need the human touch, the delivery and actual product or
Mm,
service, where you're going to see that small portion of companies that are able to operate on that small employee count are those like SaaS services where it's just, hey,
got
here's
it.
a, we're delivering a 75, $100, $500 a month software service that you just sign up for yourself. It delivered, you deliver the service, you download it, and then you don't need us unless something breaks.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
a business to business standpoint, when you're selling a $250,000 tractor, if you're selling a contract for cybersecurity worth $500,000 a year, there's still going to need to be human interaction and that type
For
of
sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where again, it's not it's if it's embraced properly, it's some cool things are going to happen to within these businesses, the ones that do embrace
I was thinking too, as you're talking, I'm seeing these like larger companies and they're rolling out AI and with bigger companies. I usually work with small ones, but I've worked in large ones. And what I've noticed is the information is more clear on the higher levels. And as it trickles down, it gets more a little diluted, a little more confusing. But perhaps before they bring in something like a big rollout like that, they can really remember that every person they're dealing with, on the employees, the associates, they're all unique people coming in with their own perceptions. And we can't assume that everyone's going to be excited about anything, right? Just change is scary. Sometimes you just tell people that their two departments are merging and they lose sleep over that, right? No one's going to lose their job, but we're going to merge two, and your roles might slowly change or integrate into something different. And they can't sleep at night. What if this? What if that? Now you're bringing AI, and you're right when you said there's a lot of fear mongering out there about AI. So that's in people's subconscious minds. This is where I come in with the energy healing because everything we see, everything we experience stays in the subconscious. So even though I'm logical. I'm saying AI is not scary. There's something in there saying AI is scary. So as they're rolling out something, perhaps they should see their employees as individuals, and everyone's going to take the information with their own filters, their own perception. Some people are going to embrace it. Some people are going to freak out about it. And maybe with that, being a little more aware of that possible challenge, roll it down in a more sensitive way, in a more where people can take it in bit-sized pieces, or have the managers really well versed on how to have an open forum where people can ask questions. And then there's always the person who has the silly questions, like the fear-based questions. But there's a good percentage of people that have it, but nobody wants to ask. So maybe to have an anonymous box where you can put in questions. The stupider the question, the better, because if it probably is something that everyone's going to have, but they're just too scared to say it. And just open it up, because I think we're in this age where mental illness is higher than ever before. People are freaking about their dog's not going to the bathroom properly or this, and they're going to work and they're holding all this, and now you're telling them AI is coming. People have become very hypersensitive, and it's not because I sometimes it's just an energetic block. Sometimes they've gone through one trauma that they keep replaying. So it's when I work with people, it's if I'm working one, I'm really tapping into what their it's there's usually a common thread of fear. There's usually a common thread of unanswered questions. So if one person can raise, sometimes you can even go into a crowd, like the crowd, and say, "Hey, listen, ask this question." And if they're being asked to ask a silly question and they know they're helping the group, they will. And that opens up a great conversation because these are all like what you're putting out here in the podcast is all great things. AI is coming, it's here, it's being embraced. Well, why not alleviate the stress that clients and employees and associates are having, although it may not cool to talk about it, it's there. So if we talk about it and get it out in the open and overcome it, you're going to have more creative staff, more focused staff. They're going to like coming to work and being creative with AI because it's being embraced in a way and it was rolled out in a positive way instead of a fear-based way.
Yeah, incorporating them, not like butting up against them.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about understanding that we're all unique people with our own histories, our own traumas, our own negative beliefs, and we assume that everyone's going to embrace change. And we know that doesn't happen because there are leaders out there that are freaking out and they come in and they're like, I need to keep myself together. I have some people in really high positions saying, if anyone knows the fear I have, like I'm freaking out at night. I don't sleep at night because I don't know if they can sense it. But I go, okay, well, we'll work through it. But any fear, when it's brought to the surface, really, it then starts to dissolve and you can work with it. And it's no longer hampering you. It's actually empowering you to learn more about yourself so you can overcome the fear to become something better. It's just a challenge, right? It doesn't have to be a hindrance. Don't you find you're an entrepreneur? You run your own business. When you run your own business, it's like you learn about yourself every single day. You always learn something new about yourself. You know what your habits are, what you
Yeah,
don't like to do, what you
what you're
love
good
to
at, what you're
do.
not good at.
Yeah, exactly. But even when you're not good at something, you can learn to become better at it, right?
Yeah.
So it's I love being an entrepreneur for that reason because I've learned so much about myself over the years where I probably wouldn't have had that same experience if I stayed in corporate. But everyone, I'm not gonna say everyone, but it's not everyone, but there's a lot of people out there that are really looking within and saying, what makes me tick? Am I happy in what I'm doing? Can I embrace change? Am I ready to take on this role? There's so many people embracing change, and then there's so many people being forced to embrace change, and they're like, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
And
and
then
I
they go
think
into stability. Don't do like why force them in that way when you can work with them
yes.
and bring them into their potential. That's like reducing so much cost for the employer.
Yeah, from an
How the person can work
employee,
with you.
yes, from it sounds like the kind of the underlying tone all ties back to education and communication. Don't keep things a secret. Communicate. And when I say communicate, it's not send them a PDF and like, hey, here's what's going to happen. But hey, like you just talked about, let's open this up to a Q&A. You don't have to ask. You don't have to feel like you're asking a stupid question. Let's do an anonymous Q&A. Here's the plan. Here's how we want it to roll out. Here's how you're going to be incorporated in it. Educate them, and then allow for questions in a comfortable setting so they can communicate once they're educated on the process.
Yeah. I
Yeah, keeping
remember
things secret, just like anything, secrets within any relationship, secrets in a marriage, secrets in a business relationship, in a friendship, anywhere, you keep secrets, then you're going to deteriorate trust and confidence and everything else. And then that's when you have the employees, one foot out the door or performing at 50% of their level, all that other kind of negative stuff that comes along with disgruntled employees.
yeah.
Really, really good stuff, Brenda. really been enjoyed talking to you. I typically like to wrap things up with asking, what's your favorite book? I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be business, but as a healer, what is your favorite book that you always like to recommend to people?
Well, actually, it's not even a spiritual book. Atomic Habits. I
Yeah,
remember,
James
see,
Clear.
yeah, that one, someone says, Brenda, you can look at things from so many different ways. Read, so I love that book. That one was really great. Um, I I have a lot of spiritual books, but there's one phenomenal one, the autobiography of a yogi. And the reason I love this book, and I read it about once a year, is because the it shows how powerful the human mind can be and how powerful humans truly are when we are empowered and know our power. And it seems like almost like there's no way this can happen, but it is happening in our world. And once we get out of the programming of, you need to be this way, and you start to think for yourself and look within to see your fears and let those go, your negative beliefs, let them go, let the programming go out. We are all very powerful and we can create the life we want. So, fabulous book. And it's a great reminder. So, I like to read that one once a year.
Repeat the name. Did you say The Life of a Yogi?
The autobiography of a yogi.
Autobiography of a Yogi. Okay,
I
perfect.
believe it's Paramahansa Yogananda. It's a fabulous book. I love it.
I'll have to check it out. And then, yeah, Atomic Habits, phenomenal book. Obviously, that's one I don't want to say I've read. Technically, I've listened to several times, Um, but yes, phenomenal book. So, again, thank you so much for your time. I think this is a very powerful and useful conversation for our audience. I hope they got something out of it, whether you're a leader or employee, embracing AI, communicating AI. Even from that employee standpoint, just being willing to communicate and ask questions. Like, don't be scared, but at the same time, empower yourself and educate yourself so you can ask productive and useful and, um, good questions, so to speak. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. Really appreciate your time and being here, and I appreciate the audience listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media. Go check out Brenda at your website is sobrilliant.ca, correct?
You got it. Yes.
Perfect. It'll be in the show notes and the description and everything as well. So we appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Brenda, for joining me and all your useful information. And we'll talk to everybody real soon at the next episode. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Jason.